One of the biggest drains on people's energy is resistance. And I'm sure you've heard of that. And I'm not talking about physical resistance, which is great, which can build your muscles. I'm not talking about political resistance, which is fantastic. I'm talking about a mental state that most people are in, believe it or not, most of the time. I'm claiming that you're in a state of resistance most of the time, and that it's a subconscious drain on your energy. It can manifest in a million different ways, okay? Being tired, maybe you're really tired, but it can also be mental resistance because you didn't get your way, for example, and you feel tired. Or overeating can be the result of inner resistance because you don't want to experience whatever's going on in your surroundings, so you distract yourself with food or with drugs or with scrolling online. All of these are actually just deflections from resistance. Therefore, dealing first with resistance as such gets rid of a whole host of problems. I mean, so many. And I talk about this in my books at great length. So resistance. Resistance is a mental not being with what is going on right here, right now, or whatever's going on in general in your life. It doesn't have to be here now. It could be some thing that you're facing next week or something that happened last week and so forth. Okay? You could have resistance on all of that. So sometimes it can help to take a breather, to take some space, to take some rest, to get rid of resistance. Like if you say, I need a couple minutes for myself. I need to take a breather, or let me just sit here for a moment and think. All of those are common methods for people to release resistance. Okay, another thing that can release it, of course, is a sense of appreciation. Listing things that you do like and you do appreciate gets rid of the resistance. A sense of slowing down instead of being rushed and hurried can release resistance. I mean, there's millions of things. A sense of gratitude, genuine gratitude, not the kind of gratitude that you make up, like I'm going to make a gratitude list, blah, blah, blah. That's nonsense. But if you can remember something where you feel genuinely that you don't want to change it. Okay, I'm asking you now, is there something you absolutely don't want to change in your life? And if I ask you that question, I'll hear the answer. And the moment you tell me what you absolutely don't want to change, you automatically get a genuine feeling of gratitude without even needing a so-called gratitude list, which is often kind of forced and resistance-based, you see. So in general, you start by simply acknowledging the topic of resistance and what a big topic it is. You can examine your life. I think you'd find that you're in resistance most of the time, and so is everybody else around you, if we're honest. If you're honest, you know that most of the time there's always something wrong. Okay, maybe the food doesn't taste just right. Maybe it's a little bit too hot. Maybe it's too cold. Maybe the people around you are too loud. Maybe they're not loud enough. There's always something. Okay, all that is, of course, resistance and not being with whatever is going on in life. And it's always the assumption that the way things are is not the way they're supposed to be. And it's funny because everybody walks around with the same thoughts. You know, something is not supposed to be. Well, if it's not supposed to be, guess what? It wouldn't be. And the appreciative stance is that everything that happens and everything that is exactly the way it's supposed to be and belongs exactly the way it is. So can you think about or imagine that maybe everything in the world is supposed to be the way it is? Now that is a controversial statement, but it instantly gets rid of all resistance. Now that doesn't mean that you should never have resistance, because that's just more resistance. Or you should never not like something. Sometimes acknowledging that you don't is a quicker path to non-resistance because you're being authentic. Okay, so a lot of people mistake this teaching around resistance that I should never resist. That's just more resistance. Okay, acknowledge what you don't like, but also have the ability to pivot to what you do like.